What's up, guys? Link donate PayPal is in the description. Ready to watch Vegeta absolutely cook the Akatsuki? Let's go.
A beautiful morning dawns over the deadly forest. The gentle stream flows peacefully, completely masking the catastrophic biological anomaly lurking nearby. Hidden in the dense canopy, Orochimaru's elite assassins hold their breath. An invisible, suffocating pressure pins them to the ancient wood like terrified insects. They were sent to observe, but their instincts scream at them to flee. Down below, a monster wearing human skin is beginning to stir. Forcibly mutating his chakra network took a massive physiological toll. The prince of all Saiyans is experiencing an astronomical, predatory hunger. A giant wild boar bursts from the undergrowth. To the beast, the tired wanderer looks like an easy morning meal. It makes a fatal miscalculation. Without even shifting his stance, Vegeta brings the colossal beast to a dead halt with a single, unyielding hand. Attempting to utilize this world's elemental energy, he unleashes a crude blast of raw fire chakra. But his output is far too violent to control. The result is a disastrously charred lump of ash. For a warrior of his caliber, failing at basic culinary survival is infuriating. Watching from the bushes in a terrible disguise, Ino's romantic obsession clashes violently with her absolute intolerance for ruined food. She can excuse his toxic personality, his terrifying aura, and his murderous intent. But she draws the line at completely destroying a perfectly good breakfast. Throwing caution and common sense entirely out the window, the delusional Kunoichi marches directly into the personal space of the alien warlord. Vegeta instantly locks onto her. Irritated by her sudden reappearance, he raises his hand, fully prepared to eradicate the noisy nuisance from existence. Blinded by her bizarre obsession, she completely ignores the lethal threat. Instead, she draws her kunai, deploying her ninja skills for a much more important mission. With incredible precision, she carves away the ruined exterior. She salvages the untouched meat inside, treating the ingredients with absolute respect. She builds a controlled fire, expertly seasoning the pork with wild herbs. For a brief moment, the deadly battlefield transforms into a makeshift kitchen. The rich, savory aroma hits his enhanced senses. Against his own pride, the Saiyan's biological instincts completely override his urge to destroy her. She presents the masterpiece on a massive leaf. It is a flawless culinary execution, meant entirely to win the favor of the brooding warlord. He snatches the food with blinding speed. He refuses to show gratitude, treating the offering as a mandatory tribute rather than a gift. His pride takes a backseat to his genetics. The Saiyan prince tears into the meat with absolute savagery, replenishing his desperately depleted energy reserves. For a split second, his eyes widen at the incredible flavor. But his massive ego instantly forces his features back into a terrifying scowl.
This food is absolute low-class trash. But I suppose your miserable life has some pathetic use after all.
To any sane person, it was a death threat wrapped in a brutal insult. To Ino, it was a poetic declaration of her immense value to him. Her toxic obsession reaches terminal velocity. She genuinely believes she has tamed the beast, unaware that she is merely tolerated as a temporary chef. Even the prince of all Saiyans is rendered speechless by the sheer magnitude of her delusion. He decides ignoring her is the safest tactical option. High above, Orochimaru's elite squad watches in absolute disbelief. The world-ending monster they were sent to observe is currently having a peaceful breakfast. Their tactical minds are completely short-circuiting. How can a being that exudes such catastrophic killing intent be so easily pacified by roasted pork? But their relief is instantly shattered. Vegeta stops chewing. His enhanced senses have pinpointed their exact coordinates hiding in the foliage. Pure, paralyzing dread washes over the assassins. The predator knows exactly where they are, and they are entirely at his mercy. Yet, he does nothing. To a god of war, crushing insects while eating is simply a waste of energy. He returns to his meal. It is a bizarre, fragile piece built entirely on arrogance and delusion. But in the ninja world, peace is merely the calm before the slaughter. The fragile piece shatters instantly. Following Orochimaru's strict orders, the Sound 4 drop from the canopy, ready to execute the ultimate containment protocol. Moving with lethal synchronization, the elite squad slams their hands into the dirt, channeling dark chakra to lock down the entire perimeter. A massive wall of purple flames erupts from the earth. The four black fog's barrier is cast, effectively trapping the Saiyan and his clueless chef inside. But the prince of all Saiyans literally doesn't care. Surrounded by a high-level assassination squad, he just casually takes another bite of his roasted pork. Infuriated by his blatant disrespect, the assassins decide to skip the warm-up. Black curse marks begin to spread violently across their skin like a dark infection. They tap directly into Orochimaru's forbidden science. The cursed seals forcibly mutate their bodies, pushing their physical limits to an absolute, horrifying extreme. Flesh tears and bones crack as they transition into curse mark state 2. They become literal demons, sacrificing their humanity for raw, unfiltered power. Now fully transformed into monstrous entities, the squad radiates a toxic, heavy chakra that would paralyze any normal shinobi with pure terror. Moving at blinding speeds, the mutated assassins launch their coordinated assault, deciding that taking a hostage is the easiest way to secure the alien target. In the blink of an eye, Sakan materializes right behind Ino, pressing a razor-sharp kunai directly against the terrified girl's throat. Caught completely off guard, the blonde kunoichi freezes. Her life now hangs by a fragile thread, held hostage by a literal nightmare.
Don't twitch, alien freak. One wrong move and your little personal chef gets her throat slit wide open.
The tension is absolutely suffocating. Yet, Vegeta simply pauses his chewing, looking at the monstrous hostage-taker with eyes full of profound boredom. He swallows his food loudly, the sound echoing in the silent barrier. There is no panic, no negotiation, only the cold, calculating gaze of a warlord.
Go ahead and do it, Bug. She's been annoying the hell out of me all morning anyway.
The sound ninja is completely dumbfounded. His flawless hostage strategy crumbles instantly against a man who legitimately values his breakfast over human life. But the true absurdity lies with the hostage. Instead of crying, Ino's eyes light up with literal stars, completely twisting his lethal indifference into a romantic flex. She blushes furiously, her delusional mind convinced that his ruthless rejection is just a tough guy act to protect her feelings. It's pure, unadulterated madness. Vegeta's patience officially runs out. He isn't angry about the hostage, he's absolutely furious that these low-class freaks ruined the vibe of his meal. Without even bothering to stand up from his rock, the Saiyan prince slowly raises his right hand, his face twisting into a scowl of pure disgust. He doesn't use ki. He simply flexes his ridiculously dense musculature, compressing the ambient air around his palm into a devastating physical weapon. Sensing the catastrophic buildup of pressure, the mutated assassins finally realize they aren't the hunters here. They are trapped inside a cage with a god. With a lazy, almost insulting flick of his wrist, Vegeta releases the pent-up kinetic energy, unleashing a physical shockwave mimicking his signature Gallic gun. A colossal hurricane of localized air pressure erupts forward. It tears through the earth, obliterating everything in its path with zero effort. The demonic assassins are instantly caught in the invisible meat grinder. Their mutated bodies are violently thrown backward like worthless ragdolls in a tornado. They slam brutally into their own purple barrier. The sheer kinetic force pins them against the burning walls, cracking their reinforced bones upon impact. The legendary barrier meant to be unbreakable shatters like cheap glass. The physical pressure completely overwhelms the ninjutsu, blowing the flames out of existence. The Sound Four crash into the dirt, their curse marks violently receding as they lose consciousness. The elite squad is completely neutralized in under 5 seconds. Witnessing the ultimate display of effortless power, Ino clutches her cheeks and lets out a high-pitched squeal of absolute, toxic infatuation. Ignoring the carnage entirely, the Prince of all Saiyans just rolls his eyes, picks up another piece of charred meat, and goes back to his breakfast. The fleeting morning tranquility is abruptly and violently erased. A dense, unnatural mist rolls across the riverbank, dropping the temperature to a freezing chill. Her romantic fantasies instantly evaporate into the cold air. A new, terrifying presence approaches, carrying a killing intent that eclipses the demonic assassins. From the blinding white void, the true gods of the shinobi underworld reveal themselves. The Akatsuki have officially arrived to claim their prize.
Well, look at this mess, Itachi. Seems we found ourselves an unregistered Jinchuriki throwing a little tantrum in the woods.
The Saiyan prince is thoroughly exhausted by the endless parade of pathetic insects interrupting his incredibly rare moment of culinary satisfaction. Assuming the stranger is a wild beast filled with tailed beast chakra, Kisame unseals his legendary sentient blade, eager to feast on the anomaly. The monster of the hidden mist strikes with the force of a tsunami, aiming to shred the arrogant foreigner's chakra network in a single blow. Samehada's scales flare open in midair, anticipating a massive banquet of sweet, highly concentrated spiritual energy from the unsuspecting victim. But the blade never connects. With insulting ease, the prince halts the legendary sword using only the sheer, compressed density of 2 fingers. Kisame's arrogant grin vanishes. The immense kinetic force behind his swing is completely nullified by a physical strength that defies all shinobi logic. Desperate for sustenance, the sentient sword opens its maw. It latches onto his flesh, attempting to greedily drain his internal energy reserves. Vegeta doesn't resist. He allows the creature to pull his energy, feeding it the raw, unadulterated, and wildly unstable power of a Saiyan elite. The sword instantly realizes its catastrophic mistake. This isn't chakra, it's a violently dense, radioactive bioenergy that destroys anything attempting to consume it. The legendary blade convulses in sheer agony, violently rejecting the toxic alien energy. It vomits blood, experiencing catastrophic cellular poisoning from the Saiyan's aura. The monster of the hidden mist stumbles backward, utterly terrified. His invincible, chakra-devouring weapon has just been brutally poisoned by a single touch.
Did you honestly believe a pathetic, low-class parasite could digest the raw, unfiltered energy of a Saiyan elite?
Driven by panic and rage, Kisame abandons his dying weapon. He frantically weaves hand signs, preparing to drown the arrogant foreigner in a colossal flood. A monstrous shark forged of hyper-compressed water erupts from the shallow stream. It expands into a towering tsunami, threatening to crush the entire riverbank. The colossal aquatic beast lunges downward, carrying enough kinetic and elemental force to pulverize solid bedrock into absolute dust. Instead of dodging, Vegeta simply closes his eyes and sighs. He is completely exhausted by these flashy, worthless parlor tricks masking true weakness. With a sharp exhale, he ignites his aura. A dense, blinding pillar of red and gold energy violently erupts, turning his body into a miniature sun. The towering water shark crashes into the aura and instantly vaporizes. The sheer, unfathomable heat of the Saiyan's bioenergy boils the attack away in milliseconds. The thermal shockwave expands outward, instantly vaporizing the entire stream. Within a 100-meter radius, every single drop of moisture is violently eradicated. Caught in a catastrophic thermal blast, Kisame screams as the superheated steam violently burns his skin, physically blowing him backward like a fragile leaf. When the violent pressure finally settles, the once rushing river is completely gone. Only a cracked, baked trench remains, smoking under the extreme heat. Standing untouched in the center of the scorched crater, the prince glares through the steam. He hasn't even thrown a single punch yet. Watching from the safety of the trees, the Uchiha genius realizes the horrifying truth. This isn't a ninja battle, it is an absolute biological mismatch. Forced into a corner by raw physical supremacy, Itachi has no choice. He activates his Manjikyu Sharingan, preparing to drag the monster into the abyss of his mind.
Crazy. Samehada puking blood, bro. Saiyan chakra is toxic. Kisame is terrified.
Realizing physical attacks are completely useless, the Uchiha prodigy activates his ultimate psychological weapon, pulling the alien into a nightmare. Vegeta makes direct eye contact. Unfamiliar with the complex optical illusions of the shinobi world, he falls right into the trap. His blazing aura dies instantly. The physical world melts away as his consciousness is violently dragged into the Tsukuyomi dimension. Watching from the sidelines, Ino panics. She sees the invincible warlord paralyzed, entirely vulnerable to the Akatsuki's upcoming lethal strike. Driven by a completely delusional yet unyielding devotion, she throws her own life on the line, preparing her clan's most dangerous forbidden technique. She targets his mind. It is an act of sheer madness, attempting to bridge the gap between a human soul and an alien conqueror. The mind transfer jutsu activates. Her physical body collapses into the dirt as her consciousness is fired like a bullet into Vegeta's brain. Her soul plunges into the Tsukuyomi. She finds herself trapped in a horrific dimension where time, space, and mass are controlled entirely by Itachi. There she sees him. The invincible warlord, bound to a cross, waiting to endure 72 hours of unimaginable psychological torture in mere seconds. She tries to reach him, but the spiritual gravity of the illusion crushes her movements. She is completely powerless in this realm of madness. Dozens of Itachis manifest from the shadows, raising their blades. They intend to shatter the alien's mind by inflicting infinite pain. The blades plunge deep into his flesh. In a normal human, this level of trauma would instantly cause the brain to shut down completely. But the Uchiha genius has made a fatal miscalculation. He assumed the alien possessed a standard, fragile human consciousness.
You honestly think this cheap parlor trick can break a mind forged in the destruction of entire planets?
His ego is simply too massive to be contained. Vegeta detonates his own consciousness, violently rejecting the foreign intrusion with pure, unadulterated Saiyan pride. His primal ego manifests as a colossal golden great ape. The illusion shatters as the absolute apex predator of the universe reclaims its territory. The master of illusions is completely overpowered. The immense psychological weight of the Saiyan's mind crushes the Tsukuyomi from the inside out. Caught in the crossfire, Ino's fragile soul is violently ejected. The sheer, overwhelming gravitational pressure of his wild spirit is too much for a human. The dimension explodes. The Uchiha's ultimate technique, designed to break the strongest of shinobi, is reduced to absolute dust by pure biological ego. Back in reality, the psychic backlash is devastating. Ino's body violently rejects the trauma, throwing her back into the physical world. Her nervous system is fried. The sheer intensity of experiencing the mind of a cosmic apex predator nearly destroys her fragile ninja brain.
His soul. It's so wild. And manly.
Against all laws of logic and self-preservation, her toxic obsession survives the trauma. She faints with a smile, completely enamored by the monster's unyielding brutality. Simultaneously, the prince snaps back to reality. The illusion is broken, and his patience for these pathetic magic tricks has officially run out. The mental backlash hits the Akatsuki prodigy like a freight train. Itachi drops to his knees, blood pouring from his eye as his visual prowess is violently rejected. Kisame watches in pure horror. The invincible Uchiha has just been outclassed. The Akatsuki are no longer the hunters, they have become the prey. With a violent crack that shatters the bedrock, Vegeta launches himself forward. It is time to show these false gods the true meaning of absolute physical destruction. Driven entirely by survival instinct, Itachi summons his Susanoo. The glowing ribcage erupts around him, providing the ultimate, impenetrable absolute defense. But to a Saiyan, there is no such thing as an unbreakable shield. It is merely a target waiting to be shattered. The impact is catastrophic. Vegeta drives his chakra-infused fist directly into the ethereal bone, converting pure kinetic velocity into unstoppable blunt force trauma. The ultimate defense buckles. Deep fissures rip across the glowing bone as the legendary Susanoo completely fails to withstand the apocalyptic physical pressure. A colossal shockwave erupts, tearing the very bedrock apart. The Akatsuki have severely underestimated the monster, and now, they are paying the ultimate price. Simultaneously, the prince snaps back to reality. The illusion is broken, and his patience is officially zero. The mental backlash hits the Akatsuki prodigy like a freight train. His absolute visual prowess is violently rejected. Blood pours from his eye. The sheer intensity of trying to contain a cosmic apex predator has completely fried his nervous system. Kisame watches in pure horror. The invincible Uchiha has just been outclassed. They are no longer the hunters. Driven entirely by survival instinct, Itachi forces his broken body to summon his ultimate, impenetrable absolute defense. The Susanoo ribcage erupts around him. It is a legendary shield that no shinobi technique has ever pierced. Protected within the ethereal bones, the Akatsuki brace themselves. They expect a massive energy blast from the alien warlord. But to a Saiyan, there is no such thing as an unbreakable shield. It is merely a target waiting to be violently shattered. He compresses his stolen chakra into his legs. Vegeta prepares to convert pure kinetic velocity into unstoppable blunt force trauma. With a violent crack that obliterates the ground, he launches himself. The hunt has officially begun. Moving at a speed that renders the Sharingan completely useless, Vegeta clears the entire distance in a fraction of a millisecond. For the first time in his life, the Uchiha prodigy realizes that his absolute defense is nothing more than wet paper. The impact is absolute. He drives his fist directly into the ethereal bone, unleashing an apocalyptic level of kinetic energy. The unbreakable shield buckles. The sheer physical density of the Saiyan's punch completely overwhelms the structural integrity of the jutsu. Deep fissures rip across the glowing bone. The legendary technique simply cannot withstand the raw, unfiltered brutality of a cosmic warlord. The Susanoo shatters into a million pieces. The absolute defense is reduced to sparkling dust, completely failing its master. The Akatsuki are violently thrown backward like worthless ragdolls. They have severely underestimated the monster, and now they are paying the price. Vegeta follows through, driving the remaining kinetic energy directly into the earth. The battlefield is completely reshaped by his physical dominance. But the attack carries a severe physical toll. Forcing an unrefined chakra mixture into a supersonic strike places immense strain on his biology. The dark blue fabric of his suit rips apart, unable to contain the catastrophic expansion of his overworked muscles. Blood forcefully seeps from his pores. The immense internal pressure of the attack ruptures his capillaries, a testament to his reckless power. A few drops of his highly volatile, alien blood fall to the earth. It is a tiny detail that will soon spark a biological nightmare. Bleeding and falling through the air, Itachi knows they cannot win this fight. He forces his remaining eye open, activating his most lethal visual jutsu, Amaterasu. The inextinguishable black flames of hell erupt from the earth, violently creating a massive, burning wall between the prince and his prey. The cursed fire forms an impassable smokescreen. Itachi uses the ultimate offensive jutsu not to attack, but purely to cover their desperate, immediate escape. Kisame grabs his broken partner and flees into the shadows. The invincible Akatsuki have been brutally humbled, forced to retreat from a literal god.
Fall back, Kisame! That isn't a tailed beast! That is a destroyer god!
Vegeta lets his aura fade. He scoffs at the black flames, entirely uninterested in chasing down cowards who flee from a real fight. With the pathetic assassins gone, the prince turns his attention back to the only thing that actually matters to his Saiyan biology.
Useless trash. But if you die out here, who the hell is gonna cook my dinner?
With the apocalyptic storm finally past, Orochimaru's elite squad drops to the scorched earth. They are completely paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of the violence they just witnessed. Tayuya trembles uncontrollably. Her tactical mind realizes that if the alien had actually viewed them as a threat, they would have been atomized instantly. But their mission is not over. Sakan spots something resting on the cracked bedrock, a tiny remnant of the catastrophic clash that just occurred. Resting on the stone are 3 droplets of highly volatile, alien blood. Even separated from the host, the cells continue to pulse with terrifying, unadulterated energy. Understanding the monumental value of this discovery, Kadamaru crawls forward. This genetic goldmine is exactly what their Dark Master has been searching for. Refusing to touch the volatile substance with his bare hands, he utilizes his specialized chakra silk to extract the biological sample with surgical precision. The glowing essence of the cosmic warlord is successfully contained. A seemingly insignificant moment that will irrevocably alter the future of the entire shinobi world. Securing the prize, the scavengers do not linger. They flee into the shadows, desperate to deliver the ultimate genetic weapon to their master. The sun sets on the battlefield, but the true nightmare is just beginning. Miles away, in the cold, damp darkness of an underground labyrinth, the Lord of Serpents awaits. Deep within his hidden laboratory, Orochimaru prepares to analyze the impossible biology his spies have just acquired. The elite squad returns, presenting the glowing vial. The sheer density of the blood illuminates the dark stone, pulsing like a miniature, caged heart. A pale hand emerges from the pitch-black shadows. The legendary Sannin takes the prize, his scientific curiosity completely overriding his usual cold demeanor. Orochimaru leans into the light. As he examines the alien essence, his cold, calculated mind completely shatters into a state of absolute, euphoric obsession. This isn't chakra. It is a biological masterpiece, a genetic blueprint forged in the fires of intergalactic war, utterly defying the laws of mortality. Unable to contain his scientific lust, he immediately conducts a microscopic test, introducing his own highly adaptive snake cells into the volatile mixture. The results are horrifying. The alien cells do not assimilate, they violently attack, instantly devouring the terrestrial DNA with absolute, predatory dominance. Orochimaru trembles with sheer, unadulterated pleasure. Forget the Uchiha clan. Forget the Sharingan. He has just found the ultimate evolutionary vessel. Every prior obsession is instantly rendered obsolete. He aggressively sweeps his years of research on the Uchiha directly into the garbage. The Sannin immediately clears his laboratory. Every forbidden cloning technique and dark medical jutsu he possesses will now be dedicated entirely to one goal. A wicked, ecstatic smile spreads across the dark room. The deadliest hunt in the history of the ninja world has officially shifted targets. He holds the essence of a god in the palm of his hand, completely unaware of the apocalyptic consequences his tampering will unleash.
This DNA is absolutely flawless. The ultimate vessel. Project Neo Saiyan officially begins right now.
The Lord of Serpents vanishes into the shadows. The stage is set for a horrific clash between forbidden shinobi science and alien supremacy.
Orochimaru secured God-tier DNA. Who do you guys think this Saiyan clone is gonna obliterate first? Vote in the top right and smash subscribe for part 3.